Bias tape is a sewing essential. For quilting, home decorating, and sewing, bias tape is used as the focal point or as a finished edge. I'd like to show you how to create bias tape in mere minutes. The key, knowing which notion to use. Using the right products will simplify the process. Making bias tape using Clover's Bias Tape Maker is one of the first keys. The bias tape makers come in a variety of sizes. The finished bias tape of 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 of an inch, 3/4, 1, and 2 inches will fit a variety of your projects and needs. First, you need to cut bias strips, approximately double the width of the finished bias tape. I like to use the Binding Buddy ruler to cut strips between 1/2 of an inch and 2.5 inches wide. The convenient width and the bias cut end of the ruler assures that the fabric will be cut on the bias. I'm going to be making 1 inch wide bias tape, so I'm going to cut 2-inch strips. This narrow width makes it convenient, easy to handle. You can cut strips in minutes using traditional rotary cutting techniques. Now you'll need to seam together these strips. The first step is to overlap the ends, approximately by 1/4 of an inch. And you can see I've stitched the seam from the well of the seam to the well of the seam between the two V's. Then press open the seam, and this seam has been pressed open. In order to fit conveniently through the bias tape maker, simply trim off the extra extensions of the seam allowance. Now it's time to make the tape, and you're going to slip the end of the tape through the wide end of the bias tape maker. There's an opening in the middle, allowing you to place a pin and advance the fabric through the bias tape maker. When the tape comes out the end, it will start to press, be folded to the middle. But now we need to press the edges. When pressing the bias tape, make certain that you guide the iron along the tip of the bias tape maker. So pull and press, keeping a very short distance between the two. You can easily create tape that coordinates or contrasts to your fabric for all your project needs. If you make yards and yards of bias tape or quilt binding, use the speediest technique yet, the Bias Tape Maker machine. You can press 12 feet of tape in less than 60 seconds. First, wrap the bias strips, seam them the way we just did before, onto the spindle, and then place the spindle in the machine. Place the strips over the guide bar. Before turning on the machine, take off the bias tip and the heating unit. Advance the fabric, place the wide end through the tip, and advance it through the machine tip with, again, the tip of the pin. When it comes out of the bias tape maker tip, finger press for about 5 to 6 inches. Just pre-pressing this. Now place the tip onto the machine and place the tape over the heating unit. Then place the heating unit back onto the machine and turn on the machine. There is a temperature guide where you can set it from wool to cotton, acrylic, nylon, and rayon. It'll take a few seconds for it to warm up. When the green light turns on, press the run button. The bias tape is pressed with uniform, crisp edges, perfect size of bias tape. You'll be able to create color-coordinated bias tape or quilt binding with ease. The notions make all the difference. There are a variety of extra tip sizes available, from 3/8 of an inch up to 1 1/4 inch bias binding tips. Whether you're using Clover's Bias Tape Makers or the Simplicity Bias Tape Makers, you can find out all the information on Nancy's Notions website. Nancy's Notions, it's your source for sewing education, inspiration, tools, and more.